Ubisoft don't know where the gamers are at. Have they tried looking into, I don't know, good games? Maybe they'll find a couple of there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I gotta admit, this latest interview that happened with the EP of Assassin's Creed Shadows has been a gold mine for content. And one thing that we didn't talk about was the fact that he openly admitted that they don't know where the players are. Now, I find this admission to be very weird, very strange, right? Because it's almost as if they genuinely believe to themselves that the gamers at the market, that whatever they're trying to look for is very hard to find, when the ironic thing is it's very easy to find. It seems like all the video games out there that succeed have no problems finding them, and a franchise that used to succeed very easily is now trying to say, where are the gamers?
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah, these excuses that these game companies nowadays give are so stupid. It's like, oh, gamers no longer want to buy games. That's why no one plays our game. Oh, it's just fatigue, Star Wars fatigue and whatnot. That's why nothing we have done in the past 10 years has succeeded. These excuses are... I don't even know what they are for.
Now, again, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's absolutely insane for the executive producer of Assassin's Creed Shadows to be wondering where the gamers are. I don't think it's very hard to find the gamers. The problem is you're choosing to ignore the gamers that are actually buying products. You're choosing to ignore the gamers that are out there actually playing video games. This is the...
Actually true. That is probably what's happening here to a huge degree. He's actually 100% right, most likely. That they think that gamers are exactly what they're catering to, aka people who feel white guilt and other bullshit like that. And so, they don't understand where are the people who want to buy this because of their white guilt. Where do they exist? Well, they typically exist in Starbucks, mental institutions, and on blue skies nowadays. There you go. That's your audience. Good luck. We know how big it is. It's roughly, literally 50k people max, as Dragon Age Railguard has shown.
issue. This is the problem when you live in such a weird echo chamber in the mainstream gaming industry, that you have to look around and wonder where the customers are, when in fact they're there trying to tell you they want to buy your game, but there are XYZ issues with it, and you're choosing to ignore them and essentially call them bigots, racists, and whatever. So let's get into the article, guys, from Phantom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it.
Let's go
to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. And again, guys, I want to reiterate, as much as Mark Alexis Cote, which is the name of the guy, the executive producer on Shadow.
I like that his surname is close to Kotick. That gives me confidence.
As much as he wants to sit there and pretend like the gamers are nowhere to be found, I think it's absolutely insane to say that. Black Myth Wukong didn't...
I mean, look at this. I'm sorry, but I'm also nowhere to be found to be rooting for this absolute demonic, effectively, attempt to subvert Japanese culture and gaming. It's a 2-in-1, but they're not gonna get anything.
Struggle to find gamers. Space Marine 2 didn't struggle to find gamers. Even Baldur's Gate 3 didn't struggle to find gamers. Elden Ring doesn't struggle to find gamers. It's amazing how when you look at all of these massive projects that respect...
Yeah, things that are good are, get this, and I hope you're seated, actually good. And things that are bad, get this, are bad. I know. It is truly amazing how nowadays bad is bad, good is good, is actually deep can't even pronounce the word. That's how deep it is. Okay.
The gamers and gave them exactly what they wanted.
Philosophical.
That they have no problem finding the gamers. But now, all of a sudden, you're coming out with Assassin's Creed Shadows that is a huge disrespect to Japanese people, and you're sitting there and you're wondering, where are the gamers? It's insane to me, in my opinion. But anyway, let's see what he has to say. Assassin's Creed executive producer Mark Alexis Cote recently admitted that Ubisoft does not know where players are and does not know how to reach players with its games. Now, this is coming from...
How do we reach these kids? What are we gonna do? We made a Vogue game and now we need to reach out to gamers. What do we do? Like, what kind of questions even is that? How can you even work in the game industry if if your unanswered $1 million question is, how do we reach gamers? You already reached us. And we already told you, fuck off.
From a company, mind you, that says that games are supposed to be used for social change and forcing change on people. Isn't that incredible to me? How exactly are you
That sounds just like a spin on what BlackRock said.
going to force social change?
But also, that's just a conspiracy theory. Doesn't matter if there's videos, interviews of that, and all of that good stuff. You're just a conspiracy theorist. We live in a bizarro world.
People if you don't even know where your players are? It's kind of weird. Remember those infomercials? It's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Same thing with this. Like, it's 10 o'clock. Do you know
My parents didn't.
where your gamers are? It's the same thing. During the Q&A portion of an interview at the XDS 24 conference, Cote was asked how external development will affect Ubisoft in the next 3 to 5 years. He responded, I think we're in an era of peak change. I don't know what the industry is going to look like in 5 years. And just FYI, I totally agree. I think we are in a massive change that's happening right now in the gaming industry, and it's happening by force, right? It's not happening.
Yeah, and that forces gamers are just categorically rejecting woke. As is literally by all of the world, okay? Trump won in a fucking landslide.
Because they want to. Let's be real. These people don't want to change. They want to be stuck in their echo chambers. They want to believe that everything is the way that it's always been, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, now that things are totally different, the social landscape is different, even the precedents are different. Like, everything is different now. They're going to be forced to change to some extent and start realizing that they can't always hide, right? They can't always.
I don't think they're gonna change. I think a lot of things are gonna burn because these people are fundamentally incapable of change as just a basic thing. Why would you change if you see no wrongdoing in your actions? Why would you change if there was no punishment for your action? And why would, most importantly, you ever choose to change if you are, in your own mind, on the right side of history? There is no reason for this change. It makes no sense. These people will not change. Things are gonna burn to the ground first.
Run away from the truth. They can't always pretend like the other side doesn't exist. They're going to have to change to some extent. And we're noticing that change little by little. Now, granted, change takes a long time to happen, especially in the gaming industry, right? The gaming industry is lagged behind Hollywood by like 3 to 4 years, simply because of development cycles. So, again, it's something that it's going to happen, but it's going to take a long time for it to actually happen. He says, but we're clearly transforming, and I think it can create anxiety. I see it as a challenge that we need to solve together, because whether it's a AAA or even in the more indie space, the recipe for success at...
I'm sorry, aren't we talking about Ubisoft? Shouldn't he talk about quadruple A developments now, like Skull and Bones? Man, that's a good one. Remember Skull and Bones? Remember Skull and Bones? It was amazing setup of like 5 people, maybe tops.
As it's been in the last maybe 20 years, is dramatically shifting. So we still need to innovate. He continued, we need to control our costs because
Wait, if he's actually pushing back to the last 20 years, then that means that they want to keep going in the woke direction because that's the newest thing. 20 years ago, we didn't suffer from any of these psychological ailments. But now we do. So that means that he's maybe actually talking about keeping going into the direction of woke and not even stopping, because that is the direction that he sees.
Ballooned clearly over the last 5 years. Now, this I would agree with. I talk about this all the time. More than wokeness, more than DEI, the cost of developing a video game, especially AAA, is absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's bad spending, mismanagement, or it's simply you're paying people too much.
It's bad spending. And it's a lot of mismanagement. Nowadays, you expect your basic TV series, basic movie, and basic AAA game, or even sometimes barely AAA game, to roughly have the budget of 200 to 400 million. That is insane. That is a lot of insanity.
I really don't know what it is, but ultimately everybody can agree that the budgets are absolutely insane. If you're going to do these projects that are a little bit more risky, right, especially from a social standpoint, let's say you want to make a woke video game. Okay, make a woke video game. But why are you spending $200 million fucking dollars making a woke ass video game that's only going to appeal?
Because we need face capture of supermodels and actually beautiful women, so we can later uglify the living hell out of them so everyone feels happy about things.
To 1% of the population if you're lucky. That makes absolutely no sense, right? Give it a very low budget and try to do your best with the low budget. Sometimes when you have an extremely low budget, it allows you to be more creative because you have to figure out how to do things with less money. Sometimes that's better for development. You don't always have to throw your money around to everything and think that's going to solve everything, because it's not. Then it says that next he shared how the company does not know where players are and does not know how to get them to play their games. He said, "We need to find where players are," which has been a question I've been having for the last 2 years. Where are players? What are they playing? Where do we
Bro, his dead beady eyes, beautiful, beautiful stuff.
reach them? All of this will become clear in the coming years as our industry transforms. Again, I don't understand how the executive producer of Assassin's Creed, one of the most casual collection games out there, where everybody and their mother has at least one or two Assassin's Creed games in their collection of video games. I don't understand how you are asking this question: where are the players and what are they playing? Who gives a fuck what they playing? You should be focusing on getting them to play your game. Your game is the most casual, the most known, or one of the most known IPs out there. I don't think you would ever struggle to find players. If you're struggling to find players as an Assassin's Creed game, I think there's something very inherently wrong with what you are presenting to the gamer.
True, but it's not like they will ever admit that. They're probably gonna fight for all their might to, in fact, disagree with that, which is even more wild.
If they are not accepting what you are giving out, then there is clearly something wrong with what you have made. But the problem is, these are people who never want to take accountability for anything they do. They always want to pass off the blame to someone else. Now, I appreciate that he is at least asking the questions, where are the gamers? But I think he has to understand that at some point, there has to be some level of self-accountability here, and question himself or question his development team and what they're making and why that.
Exactly. The fact that he is currently putting the blame effectively on others by saying, well, where are the audiences, is a brutal not understanding of what the hell is actually happening. Well, considering how this guy looks and how he talks and everything, I don't know if there's a soul inside of that husk, you know what I'm saying? So maybe he will never ask the right questions. Maybe he is incapable of asking the right questions because he generally maybe believes that every game is the same thing. That there is no difference as long as it's marketed and labeled a game, it's a game, and there should be no difference, which is insanity.
That's not attracting people to come back and play Assassin's Creed, because it's not like you're making a brand new IP. It's not like you're making something risky. You are making something that.
Well, to be fair, you are making something worse than previously was. That's what has been happening with Assassin's Creed for generations now.
Already has a legacy. It's already an established IP. You should have the easiest time finding a player base more than anybody else. So if you're having an issue, then there's something wrong with what you are presenting. It's as clear as that. Ironically, earlier in the same interview, Kote revealed that one of the company's main goals with its games is to change people. Now, we talked about this in my last video, and this is why I find it so ironic. The company that focuses so much on changing people, the company that focuses so much on social change, does all the DEI nonsense, does all the woke shit that you could possibly imagine, and yet they're sitting here and asking, where are the players? I really think you should sit down with each other and have a real deep understanding of what exactly you're doing and what exactly you're putting out there.
God damn, look, that's not a human. Okay? Mark Zuckerberg does a better job pretending he's not a lizard.
Because you shouldn't be asking these questions as a developer that has known IPs, known established IPs that have been loved for a long time, and people are now all of a sudden not playing your games. Gee, I wonder why that is.
Dude, bro is old. He just wants to go play a single, a one match of golf or whatever it's called, and then go visit Epstein's Island. But the island is closed, so this guy doesn't even know what to do with his free time. It is what it is.
Companies never want to sit here. These CEOs never want to sit here and really genuinely look into things and understand from the gamer point of view what's happening. All they care about is from the investor point of view, shareholder point of view, and the message of the company. That's really all they give a shit about. I don't know if Yves Guillemot, like this guy right here, is like that. I would imagine that he is, considering that Alexis Cote is saying that a lot of these questions come from Yves, so maybe he is. But ultimately, if this is the problem that you're having and you can't find players, you can't find gamers, and you're wondering whether...
That is hilarious. Make game, players don't exist, blame players for your game collapsing. Oh boy, it's almost like poetry. Anyway, Hypnotic 10 out of 10. Oh, bye!